here in the blue shirt.
I'm writing a book that is, as I understand it, is best described as slice of life category. It's based on the time my brother lost his sight, and the way he sort of laughed is he kept his humor through that sad challenge. Now, I spoke with one of the best-selling authors from Amazon, who's in the romance category, and she said, might not be a good fit for indie publishing. And I'm not certain if that's true or not, because she said things like thrillers or romance or science fiction is a better fit than this slice of life, little sad, little funny, little encouraging book that I've finished.
I would disagree with that. It is about your definition of success. So yes, if you want to be one of the mega multi-million-dollar sellers, then yeah, write romance, erotica, thrillers. I am very commercial with my writing. I love thrillers, but I also choose to write them for commercial reasons. Now your story may not sell gazillions of copies, but it's absolutely right for indie. Am I right in saying any book is right for indie? It's about your definition of success. So I helped my 65-year-old father self-publish his book. Last year I helped my 9-year-old niece self-publish her book 2 years ago. So this is not about making gazillions. This is about whatever you want for your creative project. So absolutely, sir, you should do that if that's what you want to do, or you can submit it to publishers. We're not here to say you must do anything in any way, but you all must decide what is your definition of success, and then the way that you publish it will be related to that. So for example, hardcovers, some people really care about having a hardcover book, but it's unlikely to make you gazillions of dollars. Most of us indies make money from ebooks. So if you just think about that question, that will help you make decisions.
Anybody else want to pick up on that one, or will we take it?
Yes, definitely.
Yeah, you don't need that.
Yes, because I was speaking just before with you, Howie, and we were talking about niche markets. I think that when we talk about publishing, it's very easy to think about big authors, millions and millions of copies. But from my understanding, from my experience with co-writing life, there is a very backbone, in the publishing business that consists of niche markets that can be very rewarding, especially these days with international distribution, because you can have your niche market here in the UK, another niche market in Australia, another niche market in China, for instance, and through digital marketing, you can definitely get it to the internet. You can definitely get in touch, and you can get your message across. And talking about message, it's very important for you to understand what are the key topics of your story, and what kind of people or readers can be interested in those topics. And get in touch with other authors, get in touch with these people, and start from your niche market, and then if you are enterprising and lucky enough, you can get across your niche market and start selling thousands or maybe millions of copies. So it's just, you have just to try.
My question is very simple. I was lost with the terminology of metadata after we finished writing our book, and now this gentleman said, KDB, that you are going to help the author sell the book, and then the metadata was something.
So basically, metadata is the sort of information that you provide about your book. So at the obvious level, title and author, but also things like product description, keywords. So if your book is on Amazon, for example, your book is being searched for, what are the key search terms that should apply to your book? The key thing around metadata is that it's what drives systems. If somebody gives you the book, it's very easy to say, yes, I can see that book and I like it or I don't. But if you're searching for a book, how do you discover it? And metadata is the infrastructure that helps that discovery process. So you can do that through programs like KDP, you can add sort of metadata in there, or if you're registering your title with a body like Nielsen, you can provide metadata information. But I think it's the kind of thing that maybe authors sometimes overlook, because quite rightly they're very focused on creating a book, but it's the infrastructure, it's the support that actually then helps readers find that book. So that's why you should invest the time to get it right.
It really is important, and more important in a digital world, and it's also very useful for doing what Joanna was talking about, and what everybody talks about in terms of framing your book. Thinking about metadata is a very good way to think about where your book fits in the ecosystem.
So my question is about, if there are 10 million books on Amazon, we've self-published our book, what's your top tip on discoverability?
I'm happy to
So I would say it goes to the metadata, what we've been talking about. The book description and the keywords are so important for having that book surface in search results. Also, the newer the book, I think the higher it comes up. So when you first launch your book, that's when you want to make sure that it is as perfect as you can be, as other people have said, and that your metadata is as robust as it can be. So don't just start saying, you know, I'm going to, get as little as possible out there. Don't put anything out there until you have it really ready, because that will hurt you later on when you do try to update it and first launch.
What I missed off my list when I was saying experiment was book covers. I've had my books out for 18 months now, and they do sell really, really well. They're a series, standalone, but a series. You don't have to read one to read the other. So I've branded them the same covers, and they've got the same fonts and everything on them. But I am now, after the 18 months, going out to a new cover design and having them all rebranded. Because I feel like when you have a hardcover book out, you have a paperback for a traditional deal, you would get a brand new cover. So it may just give a book a bit more of a lease of life that people might have missed before. And if you have sold more books, but and then rebrand what you've got, they might find those as well. So that's what I'm tearing my hair out at the moment, trying to find 3 covers that match to make the brand again. But yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Anyone else discoverability?
Can you hear me? Yeah. I would really like to repeat for discoverability again that it's really important not to just be on one channel but on all different channels, because there are just different people, different readers. Some use a Kindle, some use a Kobo, some use a Sony reader, so it's really key, I think, to be on every platform, and not only with ebooks on every platform, but also to use print on demand for people who are really into reading books. I mean, there are still people who really love physical books. I'm one of them. I also have an e-reader, but I like to, when I travel, I like to use my e-reader. When I'm at home, I like to read my books. So, try all formats with print on demand, with digital publishing. It's easy for you. It's not a big invest.
Yeah.
And I think this is really, apart from the metadata, I'm absolutely in it. It's really key to have the right keywords so that everybody can find your books online. It's really key to be everywhere worldwide.
Yes, and also I'm going to tell, absolutely publish across different platforms, because your ultimate playground is the internet. So have your website, have a blog, publish through Writing.ie, other platform, and link them together. Use content marketing, write about your book, establish yourself as an opinion leader, or talk about, because when you write a book, even a fiction book, you end up becoming an expert about the topic. So you can share that expertise with other people. So write and link that to your website, to your blog, to Writing.ie, to other platforms, because by linking you elevate your visibility on the internet. It's very important for search engine optimization.
And just to build on that, I think the other point to make is to keep experimenting. There's no single answer to this, and I think the fact that you've had several different responses shows there's no silver bullet that any one of us can just say do that and your book will be discovered in every instance. Just keep practicing, keep trying different things, and even if it doesn't work the first time, there may be a specific reason why it didn't work. Come back to it and try again, and you'll learn through the process.
Yes, hello. It's possibly a naive question amongst our august audience and speakers, but we are now new authors and illustrators from the West Country, from a deep dark country, and coming up to town, feeling a bit like the country mice visiting the town at mice. But my question is this: we are almost certain to want to go with CreateSpace to publish, and we're very confident and we very much believe in our product. there is a side of us which we're slightly guilty about our local booksellers. Yeah. And I wondered whether there's any reference. There was a reference made by our American cousin with regard to supporting libraries and supporting local booksellers. And am I alone, or are we alone, in feeling that by making this decision, which seems to be absolutely the right decision to go self-publishing, that we can do anything with our local support to booksellers?
It's true that this is sort of an issue that I think you all should be aware of. So it is possible, and I actually, when I was at CreateSpace, we used to recommend that that authors actually publish with CreateSpace, but also on Ingram through the Lightning Source platform. Now we have Ingram Spark, so it's a little bit easier for you. But both systems are not exclusive. You can set up in both platforms. It actually gives you the best of both worlds. So you can set your same title up in CreateSpace, and then if you bought your ISBN, and CreateSpace sells ISBNs, which is really kind of handy, you can bring that same title over and set it up in Ingram Spark, and then make it available so that then your bookseller, you can say the title's available through Ingram, and that makes your bookseller happy. Booksellers like to order from Ingram because they can consolidate their orders across multiple publishers. So that's why Ingram is so important in the business. So you don't have to do either or. I would say it's probably a good idea to do and probably will serve you best as self-published authors.
I come from a town in the Midlands, so I'm annoyed. I've got one bookshop in my town. They don't support any local authors. I did actually think it was because I was self-published, and it's not. They just don't support any local authors. We've all been in trying to even get book signings. They'll stock your book, but they will not do anything. I was told we close at 5:15, and I go all over looking at going to book launches for my friends, and the bookshops that open after hours, and the wine and everything. I think, why can't I get that? So what I've started to do is get some paperback books printed and go around, because my books are set in my hometown. I go to my local newspaper and you can buy copies there, and they're signed. I've gone to a restaurant that I've featured in my book, and they now have my books exclusively signed, so I can do it that way. I went to buy furniture the other day, and one of the ladies there was talking to me, saw my newspaper column, and now has my books next to the beds that she signs. That's the way you get noticed. It's the only way. I would love to be in my local bookshop. I've seen the shop since I've grown up, and it was just a no-no. They are just, I have to say, probably old school. They don't want to know, but yeah. So there is other ways of getting out there.
I'm sorry, my name is Helena Halme, and I've written 3 books, and I've just come up with paperback one, actually with CreateSpace. And what I do is I go around I live in London, I go around all of the bookshops that I possibly can, I take copies, and I keep phoning them up and saying, have you sold any? And I sign them if they want me to sign them. So I actually am the distributor for my books, but I think I'm going to go with Ingram's thing as well, because that means that I've only got 2 legs.
Just finally on this topic, because we've a lot on it, I think it's a vexed topic, and one of the things that we all love bookstores. Who doesn't love a bookstore? We all want indie bookstores to survive. It's one of the reasons we've written our Choosing a Self-Publishing, or the other one, Open Up to Indie Authors, is to make those links with indie bookstores and indie publishers and so on. But there is tension there, and I think that's, in my own personal opinion now, this is not an alliance line or anything, this is just me speaking personally, that blaming Amazon for what's happening to bookstores is a one explanation, umbrella that doesn't actually account for what has happened in the book trade. It's a much, much more layered problem than that. And I was really disappointed to see recently a survey of bookstores that said, when asked, would you stock an Amazon publishing book? So Amazon Publishing is a publishing house. It's distinct from KDP. And something like, when you added the 2 categories together, almost 70% of bookstores said no. They would. Which damages the author, they don't understand, it seems, the distinction between the two branches of Amazon because it doesn't make financial sense, or it doesn't make any sense. So we've really got to start working together and making partnerships and understanding that we are all in this together across the board. A question from Kat down the back. It's a pricing question. And the question is, pricing is very important for indies because it's one of the ways, we were talking about discoverability, it's one of the ways we reach an audience, is we can be much more responsive in terms of price promotion, reducing our prices when there's a good reason to do so. But the problem is synchronizing that across platforms. Amazon will price match, and then sometimes there's a difficulty getting your pricing back up and so on. I know, yeah.
Well, I think the best way to do this is going through an aggregator like ePubli, because it's actually like you change your price one time on our platform. I mean, there are other aggregators, of course, but I can only speak for ePubli. But you just change your price on our platform, and we take care that all the other platforms change the price in the right time, up and down. So this is like, I'd say, the best way for you to do.
From Writing Live, actually, with self-publishing, you are in full control of pricing. So you set your prices, you can increase and decrease your prices. We have no problems with price matching. It means that if you decrease your price, we are absolutely fine. If you have the same book on another platform with a higher price or lower price, it doesn't matter because you are in control. So synchronizing an aggregator can be a solution, but when it comes to Writing Live and you are in control, then it's up to you to deal with the different platforms, because of course there is this rule, which is not our rule, about price matching, that I can understand can be from time to time a problem.
If you're updating your price through KDP or through CreateSpace for that matter, we update that price as quickly as we can, usually 24 hours or so, or 2 in some cases. Whether other platforms have longer periods of time, I don't know, but we will always do it as quickly as possible. So I guess there's just the experience of working out every time you change the price how long it takes to flow through, to try and build that into your planning. But we will always do it as fast as we can, sometimes within a matter of a few hours, and we'll continue to do that. But as to echo the point previously, you control the list price that you set it out at, so it's entirely down to you how you price it. And we've heard from Mel before about how you experiment price points to try and stimulate sales. The more of that, the better, I think, in terms of driving demand and interest, and how you manage that across platforms, I think really is a question of experience.
I wanted to ask about, rights. I have a book that was published 10 years ago by a small literary press. They did one edition and then they folded. So the second edition never came out. So if I wanted to just make that into an ebook and to bypass going with a print edition, would I be able to do that, or do I need to get permissions from people?
The question is, the writer has a book published 10 years ago by a small literary press and now wants to self-publish it and wants to know what the rights situation is. And the answer is it depends on the contract.
Yeah.
You need to get your rights back. It will depend on the reversion clause, and if you had a good agent, you definitely should be in possession of your rights by now. If you just signed something without reading it, it's possible that they have the rights still, and you would need to get into negotiation to get them back.
Joanna, you said if you think your book's unique, you're not going to sell in the commercial mass market if it doesn't fit anywhere. I have a secret book that's not unique. On the other hand, it's nonfiction, and it's an inside look at something. It's my story, but it's not biography, it's not business, it's not anything. I've gone over this with people. So if it doesn't fit in any category, and if my self-professed goal is I do want to make money with it, so I do want commercial, then what would you suggest? Just pick a category and cram it into it?
The question is,
the question is, if it doesn't fit in a category, you don't think it fits in a category, should you just put it in some categories, basically? And the answer is yes, because you have to. Whatever platform you publish on, you have to pick 2 categories for Amazon. For iBooks, you can actually pick lots, which is quite awesome. Nook, I can't remember, a couple. They're all different.
3.
You have 3, yeah. It's between 2 and say 5, but Amazon has 2. And then you can also use keywords to get into other categories. So for example, I use conspiracy thriller as a keyword, and actually gets me into an Amazon category under conspiracy thriller as well. So there are ways to get into more categories, but the fact is, even if this is the thing about you're not unique, because you can't be. There is no category on any of the bookstores for unique. So you have to pick two. You have to say, what is this and where's the best place? And you can move it, as Mel has said. So I move, even though I'm not a Christian, I do sell well in the religious fiction category, what I call myth, others call truth. So you have to you have to decide where you fit. So for example, you're saying it's a true story, but it's, you know, so is it memoir? Is it, you know, you have to go and look through, and then if it's not selling, you can move it and try different places. For example, many of us will pay for a promotion for a site like BookBub, and often it's good to move your book into a higher ranking category before you pay for promotion, as that will take you up and the sales will take you up. So I move into action adventure before I pay for a promotion. So there are ways to play, and none of this is gaming the system. This is all just what we learn as authors. And I would say one of the benefits of being part of the Alliance and having other author friends is you can actually, we all share this stuff. And we tell each other, you know, how's this category going? Or, hey, Amazon's just introduced some new secret categories that you can get into with keywords. It is amazing how many people, you know, are talking about this stuff. So, yeah, so my thing about you are not unique is, of course you're unique. It's just that you have to fit somewhere. There's no choice.
Thank you. We are out of time, I'm afraid. I just want to thank our panel, Joanna, Barbara, Libby,